Okay, welcome Thursday, 10 November in the year of our Lord 2022. You're in the battleground, and baby, is it a battleground. Let's go to Nevada, bring in Jim Marchant. So, Jim, you know a lot more today than a lot more this afternoon than you knew this morning. Get our audience, take your time, walk us through exactly what is the state of play in the great state of Nevada, because we have an entire ticket from governor to attorney general to a secretary of state. That would be you. You also have the coalition, and we have Laxalt's Senate seat. The entire balance of the free world is right now balanced in Nevada. What's going on?
So we just had a press conference from Joe Gloria, the registrar at Clark County. He says there are about 50,000 outstanding votes, and we're trying to make sure that that is accurate. They haven't been giving us accurate information out of there. Same with Washoe County. We don't even know what's going on in Washoe County. It's a total you-know-what show up there. So, but we do have a lot of people monitoring it. We've got private eyes monitoring various things. So at least we'll have the evidence and video and stuff like that if we ever get to a point where we need it. So it's they're being vague out here on purpose.
Full stop. We're not in. That's fine. We have to have that. But that's all. Tell me, do you have people inside these counties? When he comes out and says 50,000, he's the registrar. Does that match the number that you guys have? Is that close to matching the number that you guys and your data feel that are out there?
No, because even the people inside are getting mixed information from the inside, and they're upset. They're saying, well, wait a minute, which is it? Is it this or is it that? So they're being very vague about their numbers here. So that's what's frustrating to us, and not only us, but even the reporters that are there for the press conference, they're all frustrated, and even the liberal ones. So they're all frustrated that we're not getting the valid information that we need in order to.
But the people you have on the inside, you have the election officials, and you have poll workers. Are they able to come on the show? Did they have absolute specifics? What you just said is interesting, but it's general. Do we have specific information when they don't know what's going on? Hey, they told me this at this time. This is some time out. Here's my point, Jim. Yeah. We need precision right now. I mean, very much precision. You're right over the target, and they're going to do everything to make sure that you are not Secretary of State, and they're going to make sure everything that Laxalt is not a U.S. Senator. They want to take out the AG and the governor at the same time. But right now you have a full slate that is winning. So we need precision in language and precision in thinking. How are we going to get that?
Well, so we have people that are actually inside trying to get these numbers. They're actually poll workers. And one of them I know actually has a candidate in the race and is actually working inside, and they're even trying to get the information, and they will not tell them. This is the people in this office just are not forthcoming with the data, and that's unfortunate. And it's that way in Washoe County also.
Why? Okay, but why are you in? Why is Laxalt in the governor's and you not in court? Are you going to go to court? Are you going to try to? Why are these not being supervised by courts right now?
Well, that's a good question. I think money has a lot to do with it. I wish I had the money. I would do it myself. So yeah, it's a big problem here. So I don't know if Adams got the money or Lombardo, but we should be doing it.
Jim, where do you stand right now as far as where do you stand right now as far as how many votes outstanding? You're up by how many votes right now?
I'm up by about 2,000. So I would need, of the 50, I would need 48 of the 50, basically. And then in Washoe, I'm a little better up there.
Okay. Washoe, and you still don't know how many in Washoe? Is that what the situation is?
Yeah, we have no idea.
I thought it was 57,000 in Washoe.
Yeah, it's less than that now, but we have no idea exact numbers, and they are doing this on purpose. They're not telling us what is going on up there. I don't even know if they know. So that may be the problem also, and it's very frustrating. I agree.
Okay. I tell you what. Why don't I'll chat with you as soon as we're off. Why don't you get some of that information? Particularly, I don't know why you're not lawyered up And Laxalt and the governor's race, they're sitting on a ton of cash. I don't know why they're not lawyered up and looking for court supervision right there. If they're consistently not giving you adequate information and what they're putting up on their website is not accurate. When a guy comes out and says, oh, it's 50,000 votes, well, hold it. It was this amount the other day. And where did they come from? What districts they come from? So, Jim, thank you very much. By the way, what is your social media so people can follow you?
Elect Jim Marchant on Facebook, at Jim Marchant Getter, Vote Jim Marchant Twitter, and JimMarchant.com. So we'll try to get the best information we can. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay, we'll talk to you as soon as the show's over. Jim Marchant, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Big fight there in Nevada. Remember, with Steve Cortez, they're trying to demoralize and exhaust you. They can neither demoralize or exhaust the war room. It's impossible. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to bring in Sarah O'Neill, who was a poll worker in Arizona, but I want to play first how this is all being reported on MSNBC. Let's go to that.
What's the reaction out there, if any?
Right. Reasonable humans that want to convey to the American public exactly how the election system actually works would not speak those words. Let's be frank here. There is a process here. We all expected this to take a while. And for anybody that actually had conversations with the county officials, you would understand exactly why the ballots are taking a while. That is because it takes a while to verify the signatures on mail ballots to ensure that this is, in fact, a secure election. And, of course, then there's an adjudication process in case there's any crinkles on a ballot. The Republican and a Democrat, literally, they look at it together and go and authenticize the ballot in what, in fact, is on the ballot if it doesn't work through the machine. There's a process to it here. We knew that this was going to happen here. And there's also a reality that there's about 275,000 ballots here in Maricopa County, guys, that we expect to favor Kari Lake and the Republicans. Those initial ballots, we're going to get a few of them, we're told, tonight, but then we're going to get more rolling out in the days ahead here. Yet that hasn't stopped the likes of Kari Lake calling out the, quote, crooks and cheaters, which, of course, she doesn't name anybody specific other than she has casted doubt on the Maricopa County's elections officials who are overseeing this election. But then you've also got Mark Fincham, who is the Republican Secretary of State candidate, who has spent the morning tweeting out conspiracy theories, including the likes of, it seems like only the election deniers are the ones denying releasing the election results. We will be looking into all of these election anomalies. Tell the election deniers to stop denying us the results. Mark Fincham here is somebody who also just suggested in the last hour that we should be going and looking through the election office here to find Katie Hobbs and Adrian Fontes, suggesting that somehow they are changing the outcome. All this is to say this process is moving along. We will be getting our next election drops here later tonight around 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, you guys.
I just wondering, how does that get through? Let me ask everybody, how does that get through on Twitter? Isn't there supposed to be a process where totally false claims like that get filtered out as close to an election?
Of course, the question is how that changes with Elon Musk in charge of Twitter.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
this was a truth social. A truth on his own social media site, Truth Social, which, obviously there is no.
No, I'm talking about what Fincham was tweeting out. Yeah. What he was just referring to. That got on that platform.
You have to wonder if the Musk factor is part of that, Andrea.
Yeah. Sorry, Vaughn. You set me off.
No, I mean, the issue here, too, is understanding and trying to explain to the public, which each of these candidates would have the ability to do. Kari Lake could go out today and say, look, everybody, this drop tonight, we should expect to actually go further into the deficit on the ballot count, because that's what the likely reality is. The ballots that we are going to see drop tonight are likely to lean Democratic. These are early votes that were mailed in on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Kari Lake's deficit is going to climb tonight. She could go out and acknowledge that. But then she could also tell the public, but hey, just wait until Friday. When more ballots drop, we expect those ones to favor us, because those were hand-delivered mail ballots that were taken to polling locations. In 2020, those ballots favored Donald Trump. That is why initially on election night, he was down by a lot. He ended up losing by just 10,500 votes. We expect a similar situation to play out here. But again, we also have to double down and say we don't know the results of any of these ballots until they are tabulated by the election workers behind us. So I can stand here, county officials can stand, the campaigns can go and predict what's going to happen here. But until we actually get the release of these results, we don't know. So yes, do I think Kari Lake is going to make this a close race, even potentially take over Katie Hobbs in this? Yes. But we do not know that until the county actually releases the results of what the voters of Arizona went and did today. And Mark Fincham knows that, Carrie Lake knows that, and Donald Trump knows that. Yet it is willful ignorance and willful pushing back against reality to suggest otherwise.
Donald Trump started claiming fraud in 2016 when he thought he was losing on election night, only to quickly stop talking about that once it became apparent that he was winning. Vaughn Hilliard. Vaughn, thank you so much. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is leading a congressional delegation in Egypt for the United Nations Framework Convention.
Okay. I can't take Nancy Pelosi. By the way, Nancy Pelosi just dropped. She's over in Egypt working out a deal so you're paying trillions of dollars. You're going to pay $1 trillion for deadbeat college students that they hooked into go ahead and voting to win some of these tough congressional races, and also in Pennsylvania and I guess Wisconsin were the two worst, where the governor lost in Michaels lost in Wisconsin, and in Pennsylvania, both Oz and Mastriano lost with a turnout of, it looks like, college votes. Not, totally unrelated to the $1 trillion of college debt they're transferring from deadbeat social justice warriors to working class Americans. Nancy Pelosi, because she's over there, that's what COP27 is doing. They're working out the framework for reparations from the United States, from working class people in the United States to third world countries. This is why one of the first actions President Trump did, and one of my highest priorities, is get us out of the Paris Accord. The Paris Accords was allowing China to dump as much as they wanted to into the atmosphere from their coal-fired plants and everywhere else, where working class people in the Western Europe and the United States had to pay for it, according to the deal. This is what drove the Gilets jaunes. Remember the yellow vest? This was the tax that Macron put on the people in rural France, that they had to pay for their participation in the Paris Accord. This is the same thing Nancy Pelosi, and she just announced remote voting. This is where they can use the COVID virus. They're supposed to be back in Congress. If you're not there, you don't get to vote. She wants to make sure all this stuff's jammed in, just to put up there. If we can get it to Memphis and put it up, she just, I think, tweeted out and made her statement that remote voting is going to be fine, because these guys are going to go all over the world and they're going to go over Christmas break, but they want to be able to vote to wait for the lame duck. The lame duck's going to be the biggest orgy of deal cutting and spending in the history of this nation, with the debt ceiling and all of it. It's going to be a total fiasco. Okay, I want to go. That was Vaughn Hilliard, and they're laughing and they're all upset that guys are on Twitter. This thing in Maricopa County is an absolute disgrace, and it's just an absolute disgrace. And I want to go. By the way, breaking news is popping up on my phone and other devices nonstop, so I may be distracted for a second. I want to go to Sarah O'Neill. And Sarah, you put some up on Getter Day. I just want to make sure, and I want to just deal with facts, because what you put up is pretty disturbing. And the facts are, you were a poll worker inside. You were a poll worker in was it Maricopa County? Is that where you were, ma'am?
Yes, Maricopa County, poll watcher, poll observer for the AZ GOP. And I was watching. Just tell us what you saw. Yes, at the Salt River tribal community. We were asked to report at the end of the night the number of voters that checked in and the number of ballots that were cast or turned in, as well as a subset of how many ballots were deposited in infamous door number 3. So confirming with the inspector where I was, there were 1,018 voters that checked in. However, there were 1,218 ballots that were reconciled, counted, which included the door number 3. So total ballots that I followed to deposit for the counting were 1,218, but only 1,018 voters actually checked in. So I don't have an additional 200 ballots.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, the math doesn't work. The only thing that I can surmise is that the tabulator collection bin possibly had 200 ballots already in it before we opened the polls.
But is okay. But did you? But I know. But that's your surmising that. Did you go and mention this to a supervisor? Did you put this down as saying, hey, we have 1,218 ballots, but we only had 1,018 votes, and so we have 200 more ballots than we had votes. Maybe voters we shouldn't forward this to the home office because voters. Maybe we should check in. Maybe we should double check this and figure out where they are. Did you go to the supervisor?
Yes. Well, I did confirm all the numbers with the on-site head of the election workers, which is the inspector. I did confirm all the numbers, and I did call out, this doesn't really add up. And he said, yep, it doesn't look like it adds up, but these are the numbers. And we were asked, again, all the poll observers that were a part of the closing shift, we were asked by the AZGOP to report to them the number of voters that checked in, the number of ballots that were cast and going to be transported, and then a subset of how many of those ballots ended up in door number 3. And to my knowledge, we all reported that. I did. I reported it right away. So they should have.
But hang on. But door number 3 is a voter that had to check in. It's just that the machine didn't work, so they took their ballot out and placed it behind door in box number 3. They were checked in. Is non-check-ins people that okay? So that's not an issue. Is there anything else that could have happened? Like, for instance, if they got a mail-in ballot, that would definitely be checked off with a voter, so that would be counted. That would match 1-to-1 ballot with voters, so that couldn't have been the possibility that happened.
A separate collection for the voting day mail-in ballots that were dropped off. There was a completely separate collection bin for that. So this is just a pure.
So how did this? I understand about the supervisors how did that get forwarded up? If it's 200 Delta, if it's 200, and by the way, if you just do the collection centers, I think there's 220 from my notes. There's 223, I think, collection centers. Am I roughly correct there? 223.
I don't know the exact number, but there are over 200 for sure.
200, but you did math on your getter. What was your math is saying? If we're normal, like everything else, and there was 200 at ours, and you multiply it by the number of locations like ours, that you're going to have or collection center, you're going to have 50,000 ballots that are unattached to a checked-in voter. I just want to make sure I'm doing the math correctly.
That's correct.
Roughly?
That's correct. That's the math that I used. I thought I estimated there were maybe about 250 voting centers. Okay,
so here's where I don't get that. Nobody sat there and said, and you didn't say, hey, we can't forward this up because once we forward it up, you're going to lose control of it here. And there's a Delta 200. We got to sit down here and go back to the drawing board and figure out either there's checked-in voters that somehow we haven't seen the check-ins, or we have 200 extra ballots, as we say in Virginia, and that's not going to work out.
That's correct. But and in my role as just a poll observer, I had no authority to, shut down anything or stop any of the process. I called it to the attention.
I didn't say shut down. I didn't say shut down. I said but you're limited to just making an observation to a supervisor.
That is accurate. That is correct. We observed.
So when you reported this to the A's. When you reported this to the Arizona GOP, what did they say?
I did not get an immediate response. I'm sure that they were pretty overwhelmed. It was 10:45 on Tuesday night when we were doing all of this.
You did not get, and you have not gotten a response yet?
Not yet, no.
Have you double checked and called them and said, "Hey, it's not as crazy as Tuesday night"? But they're 200. Have you had any check-ins? Or did you try to get to Kelly Ward or any of the people with it? Because that's a pretty grassroots deal.
It is. I've reported on the reporting portal. I've emailed. I have posted and tagged. And I don't know what other options I have at this point to draw attention to it.
Well, you're in the war room, so we'll make sure it gets blended. What is your sense, just as a citizen, and you volunteered to do this, Sarah? What is your sense for Arizonans about what's happening in Maricopa County right now?
Well, if I can tell you a very quick little story, the Democrat poll observer that I was stationed with, he was absolutely aghast at how horrific the process was. It was his first hurrah in being involved or volunteering in an election process in any capacity, and he just couldn't believe that this is how we vote. And I gave him a few backstories that I'm aware of relative to the 2020 audit, and I asked him. He said, "I wish I could unsee this and unhear all of this." I said, "Well, you can't." And I suggest you tell every one of your Democrat friends that this is how it works, because it affects all of us. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. It affects all of us.
This is, by the way, I come from a family of Democrats. This is not a partisan issue. This is an issue for all Americans. We got to get to this thing that, and I'm glad the Democrat for the first time there was aghast. We got to get this sorted for all. And quite frankly, for Arizona, it is a humiliation on the world stage now. I mean, it was bad enough in 2020, but the entire world, I mean, they're there because Carrie Lake is a superstar, but also Arizona is where this thing first started. And I can tell you, because I know a lot of people in the global media, this is Arizonans should be infuriated by what's going on. Forget Carrie Lake versus Katie Hobbs. This is a humiliation because it looks like worse than a third world country, a banana republic. It looks like no earthly idea. And these press conferences, they just come out, we're going to do another 25,000 a day, right? It's just this kind of arrogant smugness that you see that's just unbelievable. Steve Cortez on our last show, Sarah, I want to run something by you. You said, hey, the process they're doing here, the elites that run this and the uniparty that run this, is to demoralize and exhaust MAGA. It's to demoralize people and to exhaust it. That it's just, it keeps going. There's nothing you can do about it. As much as you fight, you volunteer to be a worker, you see it. Are you demoralized and exhausted, ma'am?
I will never be exhausted until it is fixed. I will be a little frustrated, of course, along the way. But I will not give up. I will be involved in any capacity I could possibly be involved in to help steer this on the right direction. It is a global embarrassment. It's not just a national embarrassment. And it's a reflection of, obviously of the leadership that has been selected. I would assume that they are selected because it doesn't appear that they were elected at any point in time.
Sarah, how do people find you on social media?
Oh, I'm on Getter and Truth Social under AZ Sarah, SARAH _1.
Sarah, thank you. Thank you for being on here, and thank you for everything you've done, your efforts, and particularly thank you to say, hey, I ain't exhausted. They're not going to exhaust me. We're going to get to the bottom of this. That's the American, that's that pioneer, tough pioneer spirit you see out in Arizona and throughout the rest of the country. Really, thank you for doing that.
That's right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Sure, ma'am. So, Boris, Boris, you were on the first plane out to Arizona. I'm not laughing because this is not funny, as my mother would say. What are you laughing for? It's not funny. It is not funny. It's all serious. But we got about a minute here, Boris. Your thoughts before we go to break on it's deja vu all over again, brother. Your thoughts?
Deja vu, but worse. It's deja vu, but worse, Steve. Honor to be with you. Honor to be on Battleground. It's been a little bit. Honor to be with the posse. It is disgusting. It is unacceptable. forget, as you said, forget Republican, forget Democrat, that we do not have elections in this country. We have some weird cockamamie Frankenstein process that spits out who knows what. How can we? In New Jersey, there's over 3,000 ballots missing in the county I grew up in New Jersey. What is happening across the country right now, and Arizona is absolutely the epicenter of it, is proof that whatever the Democrats have done to rig and steal elections is absolutely debilitating to us as a nation, to us as a republic, and to us as a people. We cannot go on like this. We cannot handle an election system that doesn't give results that you could trust. Because you've got these wild swings, these wild numbers, and then we're supposed to just believe that whatever the result is a week later, it's the final count. It is unacceptable. And frankly, this is something we should have at least attempt to have some bipartisanship on. We have to call on at least some of the common sense Democrats to say this is not acceptable. But we as MAGA, under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump, have to stand against it, have to fight against it.
Okay. Why don't you just hang on for 1 second? We're going to take a short commercial break. We're on Battleground. We're going to continue. We got Boris Epshteyn, one of the senior advisors to President Trump and a long-time contributor here at War Room, and the first man from the Trump campaign on the ground in Arizona in 2020. I think it was on the 4th. Short commercial break. We're going to be back. War Room Battleground in a moment.
War Room Battleground with Stephen K. Bannon.
It's chairman of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
And I'm Stephen Richard, the Maricopa County Recorder.
And again, the board and the recorder run elections here in Maricopa County as a team, and we're very excited about how things are going today on Election Day. We had all 223 vote centers have opened. We've already had over 45,000 people who have checked in and already voted today. We did want to come out and discuss one issue that's going on out there in about 20% of the vote centers. Again, we have 223 vote centers across the county. In about 20% of those, when people will go and they try and run the ballot through this tabulator, maybe 1 out of every 5 or so of those ballots, they're not going through. But this is something we've prepared for. We have a redundancy. If the ballot will not go through this tabulator, and by the way, those ballots that go through this tabulator, they go back here in the machine. If their ballot's not going through the tabulator, then we will ask them to go here at door number 3 and place their ballot into this secure box. Those ballots will remain secure in there all day long, and at the end of voting after 7 p.m., when everything is completed, then these ballots will be taken out securely and delivered by a bipartisan team, so Republican and Democrat, down to here at the Central Tabulation Center where they will be tabulated.
Okay, there's 17,000 of those behind door number 3. 17,000. 17,000. They say, and I know the audience jumps me all the time. I'm not a machine guy. 17,000. Boris, I got to bring in here, brother, because I know you and I are mail-in ballots and the way they play market license. These guys have. And by the way, Sundance over at Conservative Treehouses has the best analysis. It shows that they have a ballot generation operation versus we vote. They have ballot generation. It's magnificent. And this has got to be deconstructed, but we'll get to that later. Boris, Mr. Rogers walks out there. It's a fine day in the neighborhood, and we're glad everybody's here, and isn't it lovely? It's election day. Oh, by the way, in the buried lead, 3 minutes into it. Oh, by the way, there's a slight fraud. 26%. Well, 25% of the voting centers, which is where they congregate all these, of 223 are having problems. Of that, 1 out of every 5 ballots is being rejected. And of course, the mainstream media, Boris, reported that as there was a few quirks, a few anomalies and quirks during the day that the evil Carrie Lake made a big deal about. Boris Epshteyn, Cortez in the last show, they're trying to demoralize and exhaust the deplorables. Is this a psyop, sir?
Of course, that's exactly what it is. I mean, and listen to those people. Oh, yeah, everything's totally fine. I mean, who are these people we find as our leaders? This is what we have running our national elections? They shouldn't be running a concession stand at the MoMA, okay? They shouldn't be over at the Cardinal game. This is a joke. It is a disgusting, pathetic joke on what's supposed to be the election system in the greatest country on God's green earth. It is disgusting and it is unacceptable. And I'll say it again and again and again and again. Door number 3, door number 1. What are we talking about here? What is it, Wizard of Oz? Just don't make
Boris,
don't make our election
Caroline
system.
Wren, just give her the number. Just text her the number from Memphis. Boris, I'm getting breaking news right here. I want you to continue on. I'm getting breaking news from Caroline Wren. There was just a drop, even as we speak, in Maricopa County. That's what it looks like as soon as we get rid of Boris, we'll take Caroline Wren, unless you can Skype in. You can get to her, just give her the Skype location. Looks like a very favorable drop for Kari Lake. So if anybody can get on that and check it out. Boris, this has got to come to an end. You came out there. Boris, it's been 2 years. I mean, think about it. Boris Epshteyn was the first guy from the Trump campaign that got on a plane and went to Arizona. And Boris, I think I remember you stayed out there for 3 or 4 months, right? I mean, you were the whole time this thing went through. I think you came back for the president leaving the White House. So you were there for 2.5 months to try to get to the bottom of this. And it never got sorted. It never got sorted. And now we had this disaster, and we have a disaster going on potentially in Nevada right now. So what is then to be done, Boris? We just had a deplorable on here. She was a poll worker. She says, they're not going to exhaust me. I'm going to fight for this until we get to the bottom of it, and it's got to be changed, and I'm inexhaustible. What say you, sir?
Well, once Kari Lake wins and takes control of Arizona, and Lombardo hopefully wins in Nevada, takes control there, we need these states to pass laws which make sense, which have same-day voting, same-day counting, same-day results. None of this, we have a delegation that's bringing the ballot from here to there, and then everybody looks at the ballot. That is nonsense. We can't have any of that. We have to have a system that allows us to have the results same day. There's 400,000 ballots delivered day of. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's 10 million ballots. What we need to have is same-day voting, one citizen, one vote, boom. That's it. That is the answer. That's the only answer.
How important is us? We have Nevada, and you spend a lot of time in both Nevada and Arizona as a block. And people, this is what I'm saying, this is an entire slate of hammers in Lombardo, the great Attorney General, Marchant, the Secretary of State, and Laxalt as a senator, Kari Lake, Abe Hamadeh, Fincham, and, of course, the great Blake Masters as senator. Do you understand what that block means out west as an anchor for MAGA? This is why they're trying to cheat it. This is why they're trying to destroy it, sir.
No doubt about it. Of course, they don't want to see these sweeps, the Iowa sweep, the Factory Ohio sweeps all across the country. These are MAGA sweeps. MAGA wins, and more are coming time and time again. So that's why they're trying to play these games, wait us out, and maybe MAGA will take its eye off the ball. We haven't taken our eye off the ball in 2 years, and we're not going to start now. We are not letting go. We are not ceding control, and you're not going to steal it from us. And am I confident in those results in Pennsylvania? You better believe I'm not. What we need in this country is votes that we could trust. And you know what? If that happens, and there's regular counting, and it's real, and it's same day, and there's elections that don't go our way, we're going to say, well, hey, it didn't go our way. That happens. But if you play these cockamamie games, we are not going to accept it. Door number 1, door number 3, door number 7. This isn't Willy Wonka. This is American elections, and they need to be straight up. And if they're not, we've got to tear the system down and build it right back up.
Boris, how do people get to you on social media? How do they get to you? How do they get to you and find out what's going on?
No doubt about it. A lot going on. Big big plans for next week. The big announcement on Tuesday is moving forward. We are on the offense. We are going to take our country back. We're going to make America great again, and we're going to have a ton of fun doing it. If anybody stands in the way, well, you better look at the oncoming train. My information, BorisCP.com, hot on the website, BorisCP.com, hot on Getter at BorisCP, on Twitter at BorisCP, hot on Truth Social at Boris, hottest on the gram, Boris_Epshteyn. Stay strong, God bless, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Boris. Okay, this is from Gila. It looks like Gila County. Gila County is just reporting, I think, 3,400 ballots. Kari Lake, 75%, 74.6. Katie Hobbs, 25. Senate Blake Mercer, 71. Mark Kelly, 26. Fincham, 72. Adrian Fontes, 27. And Abe Hamadeh, 74. So this is, by the way, so Memphis should understand that she continues to call. So let's go ahead and get this. Yeah. Okay. Somebody better pick up. Can they pick up in Memphis?
Yeah, they have.
Is that doable? Okay, fine. Do we have Caroline Wren on the phone?
Yeah.
Do we? Okay, can I get Caroline Wren? Caroline, thank you very much, Caroline. Hey, Caroline, thank you very much. Can you get us up to date on what just dropped?
Sure. Yeah, it was over at Lake Masters War Room when it dropped, and a lot of loud cheers erupted. So it was big. It's markers from Graham and Gila County. But what it did is it helped us kind of model and suggest what we're expecting from these missing election day votes. It was the first time that ones had come in, and it was outperforming all of our models. And that's so, models are typically very safe, right? And it was absolutely outperforming, which is huge news for the entire GOP ticket. We expect a few more bad batches out of Maricopa and out of Pima. We're totally expecting those. They're probably going to come tonight, a few of them. And then about 18,000 more out of Pima. These are votes that are still mail-in ballots that are being late to count. And then from there, it is just smooth sailing. And I, at least speaking on Kari's, looking at her data, it's going to be absolutely huge. And I'm more confident than I was yesterday when I came on your show, Steve, and I was at 100% confidence yesterday. So whatever is higher than 100 is where I currently am at.
I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but I'll play devil's advocate. And by the way, we got this now to Memphis, if we can get up this tweet of the ABC 15 data guru who plays it pretty straight. The amazing, it's a small batch, it's 3,400, but it breaks down with Kari Lake at 74%. And some of the things you've talked about that breakdown of basically 75-25. That's even better than the model. I think the modeling was at 70-30.
We needed to do 52%. We needed to do 52, and we did 76.
But are you concerned that Gila County, I think, is known as a pretty conservative county? Am I wrong in that? Pretty conservative in that they're setting you up for this?
No, it is a conservative county. So no, we're not concerned, because what it means is it matched our models of expectation, or it way exceeded. So, the models are each matched by county, right? So but it was a good indicator, the first indicator we've had of what those election day drop-offs look like.
By the way, where did we get this picture of Carolyn Wren that's up on the thing now? Carolyn Wren, what a picture! Man, you ought to call in more often. No, I'm just kidding. This is this. It's an amazing picture. You're. Let's say this: your Getter's going to blow up after this. Okay, you're going to get a lot of followers. God. Carolyn. Let's just make sure that's Carolyn Wren. No, Carolyn.
I have no idea what
this is pretty amazing. And let's talk about the model itself. And I want to make sure, because yesterday you're about as serious a person as I've ever met, and you're somebody that deals with donors, so you're used to dealing with mathematics, arithmetic, and money. You said, hey, Steve, I've gone through this a couple of times. I've looked at these outstandings. I've looked at the model the different districts are coming from in the counties, and I'm telling you, to a mathematical certainty, we got this, right? We just got to get them all counted.
Yep.
Why they seem to be slow walking this? I mean, they put out something this afternoon that now says the majority, I think there's 400,000 outstanding. They said the majority of these, and they always whine and say, well, they came in on the last day, but they counted all the election day ballots already. And they say, we're going to work through Veterans Day, but we will have the majority of these counted by Monday or Tuesday next week, which means to me that they're not going to finish until midweek or later. Why is that, ma'am?
Well, just clear incompetency, but I also think they just don't want to give this ticket their win. I think they are seeing the numbers that we now know and always expected to come in, and they want to do everything they can to make sure that. I think last night they didn't want to announce it because she was live on Tucker, and they didn't want to give her that. I think today they want to make sure. Now we know it's going to be a bad batch. It's the last remaining batch and so they want to make sure. Usually they were supposed to drop at 6. They're doing 8 p.m. Well, why is that? Because Carrie's on Hannity. We see what they're doing, and we again, Carrie's always on offense, and we're not playing their games. And really, yesterday we weren't in the whole just spin narrative mood because Carrie's busy getting ready to govern. She was doing transition meetings. And then today, really, why some of this press is just lying is that, Mark Kelly is in absolute panic mode, and his team has spent all day calling reporters and trying to act like this thing is over and that we're winning and all this, and the reporters are buying the bait, and it is ridiculous that they are. But that is why today you're seeing some chatter on Twitter acting like it's worse than it is. It's spin out of the DSCC, and it's wrong.
And you believe right now, as you see it, not just Kari Lake, which you said, hey, you're sticking to, you think Kari Lake's going to win by 5+, what she did in the primary.
I think our
but
floor
you're
is
in Hamadeh also.
Our worst case scenario is winning by 53,000 votes.
And you believe that also that even given all the disasters on the door 3 and everything like that Blake Masters and Fincham will both win.
They're allegedly counting door 3 right now, but we probably won't get them tonight because they don't want to. They want to drag this out into Veterans Day weekend so that she doesn't have her chance to have her big moment to talk. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, this woman's going to explode so hard onto this scene. She already has that. They could try and take our a night away or an evening party, but what they don't know about Kari Lake is it has nothing to do with a victory party or victory speech. She is here to govern and to stay, and there's nothing that these people can do about it. They can delay all they want.
Caroline Wren, how do people follow you on social media?
At Caroline Wren.
Caroline, the picture must be from college, but you're going to get a lot of followers. I guarantee you're going to get a lot of followers tonight. I'm sure the Getter crowd, which is a little scuzzier, will be all over this. So all our brothers over at Getter, let's jump on this. Caroline Wren, thank you very much. Honored to have you on here as always.
All right. Appreciate you, Steve.
Syria's a senior advisor to Kari Lake. Okay, we got Jeff O'Donnell on, and Jeff is the technology has done such a great job with Mike Lindell explaining the machines, everything like that. Mm-hmm. I don't want people's heads blown up, so I want to take this slow. We got about 5 minutes. Is there some issues in Georgia, Jeff? And you guys have done such a great job of looking at this, or Mike had alerted me that there were some issues about Georgia that we might want to have you on and walk through. Are you seeing some? Because everybody's hurtling towards a runoff on 6th December. Is there anything that's concerning you that would happen before that runoff, sir?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on. Just so you know where my data comes from. This is data coming out the end of the pipe. This is what comes out through Edison, and we're using CNN's data feeds right now. That after votes are processed by the Secretary of State and sent to the media, we get them too, and that's the data we're using. This morning, over 26,000 votes that had been previously reported for Herschel Walker were taken away, which puts the effect of this and some other odd things that happened now puts Warnock at 50.6%, meaning no runoff.
Well, how's that been? Has that been reported by anybody else? I haven't seen. Has that been up, or is that just something everybody's got access to this data and people are on this nonstop? How could that has anybody else reported that?
Yeah, well, I talked to Garland Favorito, who many of you know is really doing a great job in Georgia with Voter GA, and he had heard about a drop last night that was of similar size. And it's interesting that that his information, I believe, that came maybe from county sources. It took until about 10 to 11 o'clock this morning to actually come to the media through through the media sources, the data sources that go to there. Like I said, from CNN. But it shows clear as day there were 3 consecutive updates that took votes away from Herschel Walker. The total. Again, a little over 26,000, almost 27 actually. And there is no, I don't think, I mean, we can't just accept this. I don't quote Shakespeare very often. He said,
first, are you looking? Okay, hang on. When you say accept it, has any other media? Can I have my ever cracked staff jump on this? Because we've checked. We haven't seen anybody report this. I haven't seen an increase even on the Secretaries of State site. So how's there an anomaly between Edison and you're saying CNN gets the same feed? You're on the CNN feed when that hasn't gone up. There's been no change to the percentages between Warnock and Herschel Walker, sir.
I wish I had an explanation for it. All I know is that it is, and previously, looking through this since Tuesday night, the numbers that we're getting through CNN have tracked the numbers that have been on them and other media sources. Like I said, there's sometimes a delay if people say that there was like what they're saying about Arizona. They got from the county level. Now that information is going to have to go through the Secretary of State before it gets out to the media. So that those numbers will appear hopefully soon on the national data feed. All I know is that that's what it says, and it looks like a reactionary panic move, perhaps.
Well, we don't know. You can't say it's a panic move. We have no idea what it is. So we'll track that down. Why don't we do the following? Is this is Boebert, a new updated. Boebert is now up almost 1,000. No, 652. Okay, breaking news. Boebert now with that drop from those counties, but they said they were blue districts, is now 159,129 Frisch. 158,477, so 650. Delta for Boebert. She looks like she's may pull this out. That's obviously going to go to a recount. Jeff, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get with you after the show because tomorrow I want you to talk about Nevada. We had Jim Marchant on earlier. Looks like some anomalies and they can't really get a grip on what's the total number. I want to have you on for Nevada. I want to have you on for Arizona. And we want to drill down on this Georgia situation because you guys have been doing such an incredible job for Mike Lindell and everything you guys are going through, and you still gave the best explanation of all of the technical aspects of the machine when he came on. So Jeff O'Donnell will join us tomorrow morning in War Room. Jeff, thank you so much. We're going to be back at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Russ Vogt, Steve Cortez. I think we're going to have Boris back on. We're going to get Jeff O'Donnell. We're obviously going to go to Arizona. I may join the Charlie Kirk if they have a live feed later tonight. We may even do one ourselves to get up. All eyes on Arizona, Nevada. Everything's happening. Make sure you check us out on Getter. Be back here tomorrow. Action, action, action. A lot going on. Want to make you part of the battle. Where? In the War Room. See you tomorrow morning.